Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and I want to talk about Pocahontas because Jason Aaron done apparently messed up, goofed up, and created a comic book version of Pocahontas, and apparently people aren't pleased, and I think it's real dumb because, you know me, I've been hampering for Pocahontas to come back. You know, I'm not talking, I understand the historical figure. I understand the story. I had to take history class. I know the story of Pocahontas, the real Pocahontas. So, and I'm old enough to know the difference between interpretations, because there are historical figures that they have made comic books, they have made books where they're completely different from what their historical values are. That doesn't mean that it's an insult or anything. It's just that they want to take these historical characters and do something different with it. I think there was a book about Harriet Tubman, and she was fighting something crazy. I forgot what the name of that damn comic book was, but it wasn't. It was past just white people and racism. She had to save the world and shit like that. Was it offensive? Hell no, it wasn't offensive. But apparently you can't even do anything interesting with certain characters without it being offensive. But then here's where I have my issue with, is just like, you say you want diversity and inclusion, and when you finally have a character that is purposely diverse and inclusion, it's a problem because of what they're wearing or how they come off to people, or you don't like the fact that the character's sexy. I mean, guess what? There's a lot of characters, even historical characters, that they have aged up, aged down for stories. If you're trying to tell a mature story, why would I take Pocahontas if I was going to do a Pocahontas story and actually be like, you know, I'm going to get the 14-year-old version of her and I'm going to tell a story of her in an adult themed book? No. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do nothing stupid like that. She was already purposely aged up for the Disney thing. And I think Disney did a great job at, like, aging the character up to make it more palatable for the American audience. Because, like it or not, she is an American, she is, like, officially named an American princess. She is the, well, from records show, the only American princess, because she is a Native American. So she is kind of sort of like our kind of folklore legend kind of character, if you really think about it. And I understand there has been terrible things that have been done to Pocahontas. I get it. I do get it. But if you can take this character, I mean, if you can take this historical character and actually, you know, make her like this powerful character, you know, for fiction wise, just so people can read and have some kind of fun with the character. Why not? Like, I enjoyed the Disney Pocahontas, and I knew right then and there the damn movie was nowhere close to historical accuracy, but it was entertaining. That was the main thing. It was just entertaining. I knew it wasn't the true story of Pocahontas, just like when you watch historical movies in general, you know what I'm saying? Because there are historical movies that in general that are for kids as well, but they change a lot of stuff to make it more palatable for kids. And I think that this is no exception to the rule neither. You have this Native American character that hasn't been used in a long time, which, you know, back in the day, she was marketable. I mean, I understand, you know, people didn't probably like it or whatever, but she is one of the most famous, you know, indigenous Native American people in the world, and she left a legacy, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly about it. And you can't get mad that people actually want to, you know, use her as inspiration for telling stories or whatever. And I think it'll be kind of good because Marvel owns Pocahontas. I mean, Disney owns Pocahontas, like a Pocahontas, but not the actual historical figure. Just like they own Thor, you know, they own their own version of Thor. Why can't you tell a version of the story differently than what, you know, is expected of you to tell? You know what I'm saying? So, basically, Jason Aaron is in trouble for apparently introducing a grossly offensive version of Pocahontas. I don't see anything offensive by it because, first off, it's introduced in a book called Conan. I mean, have you guys not seen Conan the Barbarian? Do you not know what Conan the Barbarian is? Because I just want you guys to understand what Conan the Barbarian actually is. So basically, Twitter fans, let's just say Twitter fans, we're not even going to say Marvel fans, Twitter fans were shocked when King Conan #3 hit shelves 2 weeks ago, and writer Jason Aaron and artist Mahad Asur and colorist Matthew Wilson and letterist Travis Lahan introduced a new character called Princess Mononoke based on Pocahontas. It does not appear that anyone at Marvel Comics thought this idea all the way through, though. Fans immediately called out their new problematic character. Of course it is. It's always problematic. It's always problematic, especially when it comes to a female character where she is sexualized. Because, heaven forbid, you can't be artistically, you can't draw a character artistically anymore. You know what I'm saying? My damn God. And then y'all wonder why we get these, like, lazy Native American, indigenous people characters where people be like, what the hell is this shit? You know? Because y'all don't try anymore. Y'all don't try. You don't let an artist be very artistic. It's always about to be like, oh, it's being offensive or whatever and stuff like that. Everything can't be offensive all the damn time. Nobody's saying it has to be perfect, but it can't be offensive all the damn time. You know? Lord have mercy. So, apparently, an older version of Conan finds a woman marooned on the island of the undead with Princess Mononoke. So, apparently, this character, Princess Mononoke, is a Native American woman who was, I guess, from what it looks like, from what scenes I've seen, is that she was Mayan. She was a Mayan princess, and she was trapped on an island. She escaped from her homeland and was trapped on the island. And Conan is Conan travels to that island, and here she is. You know what I'm saying? She, uses her brains, her beauties, her smarts to, kill people or whatever for revenge against her people. So all I'm saying is a badass Native American woman, standing up for herself and standing up for her people and her tribe and getting revenge on all the bad things that's been done to them. I don't know. I don't see a problem with that, to be honest. But you can't never please anybody, to be honest. Oh, like, okay, sure. At the same time, it is Conan the Barbarian, so these are the costumes that they will wear. I would probably put her in more cloth clothing. To me, I would have, because I don't know about how the metal brawl thing is going to work, but it is what it is. It's not a bad thing. It reminds me of Slave Leia, because we do know that back in Barbarians, a lot of those women wear iron chain bras and stuff like that. So, okay, cool. If it was that, if this is the design that you want, that's fine. I have no problem with the design. I know some people do, but it's just like, And of course we know that Pocahontas, you know, even though she went by the name Pocahontas, she's privately went by Minoka. And apparently, just like her American name is Rebecca Roth. You know what I'm saying? You just kind of have to pick and choose your battles when it comes to this kind of stuff. You say you want representation, they give you representation. They give you representation and made a badass character, and we're complaining because it's grossly offensive to Native American women. How? What? First off, I'm just gonna let you guys in on a little secret. Native Americans don't give a damn about comics. There are way more things they're thinking about than some damn comic books. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I bet you ain't no Native American really thinking about this damn character. And not every Native American probably even cared about Pocahontas. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, because I know I was thinking about it. I was like, man, it would be cool if Marvel made a comic book version of Pocahontas. And I thought about it for a long time, but I didn't think it was really going to happen. I was like, man, I don't think nobody's ready for that, because Disney kind of like, you know, quietly shuffled her off. And then I was like, man, it'll be interesting if Marvel did bring up Pocahontas. They did. They're doing a version of Pocahontas right now. And now everybody's like, oh my God, I'm offended. Like, Jesus Christ, we all know the story. We know the real life Pocahontas. Ain't nobody erasing her thing. It's just that she has become such a legendary character figure in history, that you kind of do a little thing. Like, think about it with Assassin's Creed. Like, you know, Assassin's Creed. You know how Assassin's Creed takes some of the historical figures and tweak them just a tad bit for historical fiction. Why is we not allowed to do that with Pocahontas? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I just kind of find it weird that you know, it is what it is when it comes to that kind of stuff. But then you got this, Jesus Christ. But then you got this girl called, you got this lady called Kelly Lynn D'Angelo. I guess she's a Native American woman. And she was like, disgusting isn't even close to a word for real. How is this okay? She was a real little girl to do this to us over and over and over again. I'm just at a loss. Let's see. Disgusting. Does she not deserve rest, reclamation, honor? You colonize make me vomit. Yet you're working for the so-called colonizers. And on top of that, you do realize that she was 21 around the time of her death. So she was a grown woman, and that married and had kids. I mean, that had a child. I'm just being honest, you know. So technically, yeah, she was a little girl, but she also was an adult when she died. It ain't like she died when she was a little girl. She was an adult. And that is probably the inspiration of the adult version of Pocahontas. Not no damn, the 13, 14-year-old girl. You know, y'all always want to go back and look at, like, superficial bullshit when it comes to that kind of stuff. Oh, you're sexualizing a minor. And all that kind of stuff. It goes back to just when I talk about the whole Japan thing. You don't live there, so you don't know, or we weren't back there, so we don't know what the history was like. I mean, yeah, we got books or whatever and stuff like that, but to assume that that's the first thing that somebody's thinking of just because they made an adult version of a character. Well, I mean, what else would I have done? Because for me, I would have loved to do a Pocahontas story. She would have been this badass Native American shaman almost, but only her mystical powers will revolve in, like, you know, wind and her primary stuff would be arrows, of course. When she ain't using that, she's using arrow. I mean, when she's not using her shaman power, she's using arrows. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy. What the? Turn it on, let me float. Like when she ain't using her arrows, she's using her mystical wind power. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would have did for the character. That's just my opinion. That's just how I feel about the character in general. But I would have aged her up too. You know, I wouldn't have put her in nothing. I wouldn't have put her in nothing scantily unless I would have aged her up to an appropriate adult size. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all act like characters can't be aged up. You act like characters can't be aged up, but it's the hypocrisy of it all. You know, you're always talking about, you guys are always cultural appropriation. But Kelly, aren't you doing the same thing with Japan's culture? Aren't you doing the same thing, culturally appropriation, Japan's work too? Because if that's the case, your ass need to be your ass need to be going ahead and giving representation, reparation for Japan and China's. You know, they went through some stuff too. No, you ain't ready for that though. You ain't ready for that. But you want to get mad because Jason Aaron and them decided to make a character called Princess Mononoke that's based off of Pocahontas, and they made her this badass Native American princess. Well, indigenous. We don't know if she's American or not, because again, this is supposed to be, savage times or whatever. So, like, really, are we upset? Because hell, if it was me, I'll bring the girl to the president. Why not? Why not have a badass Native American that is based off of Pocahontas? You have a primary Native American character that people would be interested in, because people are interested in Pocahontas. Ergo, the whole thing about like Disney not really doing anything with Pocahontas. So why not? It is, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm just saying, I just really kind of find it kind of crazy that we're getting upset about a character. I mean, inspiration by a character. So if I was inspired by, a legendary historical figure, and I made a character based off of him and kind of sort of named them based off of the character, oh, it's cultural appropriation? Or, oh my God, you're sexualizing this person. No, I just use them as inspiration because I like who they are, and they are legendary historical figures, and I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do a story using a historical figure because I know it's historical fiction. It ain't real life. It's not real life. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I mean, this is one of those toughy ones, but I just kind of feel like, damn it, because I was thinking about like, oh man, that I think I was talking about it one time on one of my live streams where I was just like, man, justice for Pocahontas. It would be nice to see Pocahontas again in the media. I think the media, should bring her back, so we can, so kids can see her again. And then, Marvel sort of brought her back, but now it's getting backlash. And Jason Aaron bowed down like a little bitch and apologized, and I'm gonna send money to the indigenous women, refugees, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sakes, Jason, where your balls at, man? Where your balls at? Dang, y'all ain't gotta apologize for every damn thing. If people want to be offended, let them be offended. Let them be offended. But I bet you King Conan #3 done probably sold the hell out. I bet people done brought more of him. And I bet you the ones that are already out, the ones that has Princess Mononoke, I bet that's gonna be a good hard sell. Oh man, you're gonna get so many people trying to get that. But it is what it is when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I just think it's kind of funny, like everybody want to get offended by it. Like, stop getting offended by stuff. It's not that big a deal. as much as you want it to be a big deal, it's not that big of a deal. So it is what it is. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.